Daddy eats lots. Daddy eats lots. Daddy eats lots. Munch, munch, munch.
Hello and welcome to Daddy Eats Last, where we discuss the challenge of being a man in modern society and whatever the hell that even means. I'm Kane, and well, joining me with Ryan somewhere across Europe, just enjoying life without any restrictions. It's me and Matty. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Good. Where is he? Where is he? But flying around these days.
Well, he was in Germany, and then he went to Italy. So I think he might be in transit back to London now. He might be in Italy. I don't know, but he's somewhere where he can actually travel.
How the Northern Hemisphere live, eh?
Yeah. What's been going on with you, mate?
Yeah, we've had a pretty cool weekend. We had a public holiday on Friday, so we did some stuff at home, then jumped in the car and took the kids to the beach. Albeit it took 3 hours to get up there. Normally takes an hour and 10 minutes, but we hit a bit of traffic. A lot of Queensland, I think, was just getting out of there and heading to some nice places. And then we just had some friends over yesterday, and today just did some more stuff around the house. So
how'd the kids cope? How'd the kids cope in a traffic jam, especially Sammy?
Yeah, the first 2 hours was okay, but it was one of those situations where you couldn't really stop and get out of the car. Luckily, everyone had already been to the toilet. That was my biggest worry. Just because if you got off, then getting back on was just going to add so much time to your journey. But you know, we didn't take the iPads because we thought it was just going to be an hour trip anyway. So we were just singing songs, just doing, stupid things to try and keep the kids amused. Sam had to sleep, thankfully. Mia was in Kim's mum's car, so we were sort of passing them up and down the freeway, just making funny faces and stuff. But you really, it does test your patience. But I think you just take the good with the bad.
What's like like we were discussing in a previous episode, the car trips we used to do when we were kids, and it was like I Spy and counting off things and things like that. It's probably a little bit more difficult if you're caught in, let's call it like traffic jam sort of traffic, where you're almost stationary. I Spy with everyone can see everything. It's not like I Spy with my little eye, something which is like now a kilometre behind us because we're going so fast.
And it's all right with Eloise, but with Sam, we've got to do I Spy with my little eye, something that is this colour, and you say blue and he just says everything in the car. It's not blue, but he just rattles it off. It's like, okay, it's going nowhere fast.
Kids are the best. Yeah, just when they don't quite grasp the concept of the game. And it's, we'll adapt to have it. We still get that with the little fella. He's 4.5 in particular games. He's just got no concept of how it works.
What about you, mate? How are you going down there in Victoria?
Stage 4. We're about to commence week 3 of 6. I guess the good news is like the active cases are dropping off. Unfortunately, there's been a lot more deaths, but yeah, like we're going okay. Like I say it's business as usual. Like outside of the kinder thing, it's kind of normal for us to some extent. But is what it is, and less people seem to be flaunting it potentially. So I maybe don't feel as bad that people were maybe not doing the right thing, and the people who are kind of being indirectly punished.
Yeah, it's bloody tough, isn't it? But I believe you have got something to announce on Daddy Eats Last. A bit of a Daddy Eats Last exclusive.
Big news. I don't know how to say it. So we got a cubby.
Hey, a cubby! Welcome to the club, the Cubby Club.
Cubby Club. There's 2 of us now. So Ryan's the odd one out now without a cubby. You can travel freely across Europe, but we have cubbies, so suffer in your jocks, right?
That's it, mate. We are winners.
Yeah, so the cubby.
So how did all this? Yeah, how did it all come about?
So we ordered because stage 3, stage 4 restrictions came into place, and we're like, okay, kinder's off. What are we going to do? So it was like a mad panic. Okay, let's order as much shit as we can from Kmart, which will arrive, which we can store away and just kind of bust out as required over sort of because of winter when it rains, puzzles, all that sort of stuff. And then my better half she was, how about we get a cubby? I'm like, I don't know about this. I don't know about a cubby. It's not sure. But she eventually talked me into it. Like obviously, going to stage 4 restrictions and no kinder and, there's no fees and stuff like that. We're saving money because we're not paying for petrol, all sorts of savings. So I go, okay, we'll actually fork out a bit of money and get a bit of money, like some money to get a cubby, and it arrived last Monday at 8:30 in the morning. Comes off the truck. We all go outside to see the truck because, a truck's pretty exciting seeing, we haven't seen anyone for like a month. And my better half goes to the little fella, hey, guess what it is? And he's like Sammy in a car. Is it a bird? Is it a window? Is it blah. I'm like, she goes, oh, it's a cubby. This is 8:30 on Monday morning. He goes, well, we have to make it immediately. So that was
Grab your toolbox, Dad.
yeah. Luckily, it was a beautiful day. The sun was out. There's barely a cloud in the sky, but it was pretty much like, okay, I need to have this cubby made by today. So, yeah.
Wow. Did he come and help you build it, or did you just say you go and do something else and I'll whip this up for you? How did that?
Well,
Because I can imagine the level of excitement on the little guy. He would have just been itching, chomping at the bit to get out there and put that together with you.
Yeah, it's a catch-22. Like, it's enthusiasm's great, and then it wanes pretty quickly. Like, enthusiastic at the start, like, yeah, cubby this, I'll help and I'll do that, and then eventually he just wanted to, have the box that it came in, 2 boxes made into a cubby that he could play in himself. While we did the hard yakka of actually assembling the real cubby. So he got a bit excited when I got the drill out, the electric drill. He wanted to have a crack at that, but everything else he was pretty much just like, I'm just gonna play in my own cardboard cubby.
No, you did send me a picture of that cardboard cubby, and it did look quite impressive. It had a tiny little window for air. It's probably as big as it was going to be, but then you moved onto the big one.
It was completely structurally unsound, and almost collapsed on me at various times. But no, he enjoyed it, and he survived.
And were all the pieces there?
Yes.
In the box?
Yeah, unfortunately, there was a bag of screws left over, which we're not sure why or where they're from. Seeing we followed all the instructions, I think they just put a bag of screws in just to kind of screw with you. Pardon the pun.
Don't they? Yep.
Yeah, so you think you've actually done something wrong, and my better half just goes, oh, hey, where are these meant to go? And well, nowhere. Every hole's got a screw in it.
You don't mind getting extra little bits when you open up a box of Lego, but when it's a cubby or something structural, maybe something from IKEA, then you start to worry a little bit.
Yeah, I gave it a good rattle after we'd put it together, and nothing. It felt pretty stable, and it's turned out okay.
Maybe just keep an eye on it the next hailstorm or big lightning strikes that come.
Yeah, so that we thought it was a little bit of. I guess it was a bit of fun. It's been a bit of a relief this week. Something to do. Like, as long as it's not bucketing down rain, we can go outside and he can play in the cubby. Like, he straight away took his tea set out there, and he's like pretend fruit, and he's pretend oven, which is really just a cardboard box, and was pretending to cook food and stuff. So yeah, given that we're in stage 4, it was just something fun like he could look forward to, and I guess we could all look forward to.
Yeah, and you probably find yourself spending a lot more time out. Well, I guess when it starts to heat up a little bit, but you'll be out there a lot more than maybe you were traditionally being. So you guys have got a pretty cool play area at the back of your house there, but now with the cubby out there as well, it's just it's really doubled your floor play space.
Yeah, well, we've actually got fake grass in the backyard, which is awesome because I don't have to mow it. Like as we discussed before, like I don't miss mowing, but I didn't love mowing, so I'm certainly not crying that I don't get to mow the lawn. So we've got the fake grass, we've got the cubby, so it's pretty all weather. Like after it bucketed down here on Friday night, like really heavily rain, and then by mid-morning on Saturday it was dry. So like gives him the ability to go outside, like as long as it's not actually raining at the time, and the cubby gives him some shelter and he can play in there. So we are really lucky. But I guess it's like you say, another option.
Yeah. And how long did it take you to put this one together, mate?
4 hours. So it was up by
Jeez,
12:30.
That's great.
Yeah.
Just in time for lunch. Beautiful.
It was actually. We christened it by having a toasted sandwich in there or something. So I think the stupid thing was I'd actually made like I got up first thing in the morning. Like I got up and with him, I'm going, okay, because on Monday mornings, I'd always have him. Like Monday's my day where I spend with him. And then the rest of the week we kind of raffle it around. We've got the roster on the fridge, which I've had the piss taken out of me about before on this show. But Monday morning's traditionally my morning with him. Okay, we're going to cook. And we're expecting the cubby to arrive at some point, obviously not at 8:30 in the morning. So we'd cook like a brownie with, I looked up a recipe with sweet potato. So it's like a brownie which was kind of good for you. So it made that, and then this thing arrives that gets put together. So I'm like, by midday on Monday morning, I made a brownie and put together a cubby. It's like I was ticking off all the boxes or something.
Ticking boxes, yeah. I guess this is a really cool example of it doesn't have to be a cubby, I guess, but ways that parents can, improve the COVID time for kids as well, because they're having a shit time too, really. Work's been taken away from us, and I guess as adults, any socialing or social events as well has been, shit canned because of this pandemic. But for the kids, like your little guy, he's been taken out of kinder, which, he's only just started this year, and all his mates are in there. And so anything we can sort of help the kids as well is, I think it's going to pay massive dividends.
Yeah, I reckon the hardest bit though, and I reckon everyone out there in stage 4 and probably any parent is just trying to stay engaged the whole time. Like kids are on from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to bed. Like there's no sort of downtime. On the whole, there's not a lot of downtime where they'll just kind of chill out, especially when they're 4 or 5. It's probably at Mia's age, it's different. They're sort of 4 or 5 or younger. There's no time where they just chill out by themselves. They're on all the time. So it's just trying to maintain that level of engagement is, I think it's really important, but it's also bloody draining. Like you get to the end of the day and you're just like, oh, I'm exhausted from, pretending to be Darth Vader and then building a cave and then pretending I'm at a bunyip and then pretending I'm, a character from Frozen and then we're doing Lego and then we're doing this and that shop. So I think it's that level of engagement. It's just constantly trying to, make their life better. I think it's bloody exhausting.
Oh, it is. It's so surprising how much it takes out of you. Like I've only got I've got Sam on a Monday, Eloise on a Tuesday, and yeah, by the end of it, it's just you're knackered. Like they're the nights I go to bed early because it just takes it out of you. Probably more so than work does because, like you said, you're on all the time.
Yeah, work you can just kind of skive off, especially when you work with your spouse.
That's it, mate. Works like a holiday. Yeah.
Well, it really is, and it kind of goes back to like you. I got some of my wife's friends who've like had a second kid, like having 2 under 2, and like the husband was very much pushing, oh, let's have another kid, like let's have a second, let's have a third, and like after a couple of weeks they chuff off back to work. Like unless you live it, it's like you kind of like on the weekends it's kind of give and take in those sort of environments. But bloody hell, like for all the parents out there, it's not just not just entirely women these days who do it. The people who are like the sole caregiver to kids, far out, it's a tough job.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't swap that. I had a bit of an experience when I was looking after Sammy for a couple of months there, 3 days a week straight, and geez, it was draining, so draining, and boring half the time as well because he was so young, he didn't do anything. And your mind's elsewhere where it needs to be focused on the baby, but it just plays tricks on you. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, so like you're saying before, like any break from that, like any little sliver of fun that you can kind of bring into life, and it doesn't have to be, like you say, don't have to be a cubby. It can just. I made a lightsaber a couple of weeks ago with like bubble ones from Kmart, like they're 50 cents.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was so impressed by that because you had. For those listeners out there, the video Kane sent me was he was in the dark and he could see the little guy coming in. And he flicked on his lightsaber, making the Darth Vader noises, and it was canny. How real it was.
50 cent bubble wand and like an old bike like that. I think I stolen it actually, to be honest. I didn't pay for it, so just sticky tape one onto the other, and he thought it was the best thing since sliced bread for about 3 days, and now he doesn't care about it anymore. So I hope the cubby has more has more airtime than that.
Oh no, it'll give you years of enjoyment, that one. And this is sorry.
I was going to say, how's your cubby going?
Good.
We can have cubby stories now.
Yeah, we can. We've after such a lull on Friday, we painted it to match the colour of the house, and then today I was working on the fence railing, so it's got a nice little sort of picket railing around the side. So yeah.
Pre this paint job, was it au naturel? Was it still nude, or did it have some paint on it?
No, so it was a dark grey. But then before we lifted our house, Kim sort of used the cubby as a means to test different paint samples of what she wanted to paint the house when it lifted. So it was a bit of a mishmash. And then we finally just got over our asses and got around to painting the same as the house. So it's looking pretty good at the moment.
Well, so I think that's the unfortunate road I have to go down. Now the cubby's up, like I'm getting a bit of the, we got to paint it, we got to paint it, we got to paint it, we got to paint it. I was trying to really, trying to put that off. So I was hoping you'd say it wasn't painted at all and it had been sitting there for months, because I know it has been, and I might have been able to get away with it for a while. But it seems like when she listens to the podcast, I have the paintbrush out next weekend.
But you've got that natural looking timber look, so maybe you just want to leave it as is, that sort of log cabin, in
That's what I-
suburbia sort of feel there, maybe.
That's what I thought as well. I thought it looked a bit like Hansel and Gretel's lolly house. It's just kind of gingerbready. So that was the look I was going for, but I'm not sure that's going to cut the mustard.
You could paint it Hawthorne colours and see how that goes down.
Yeah, I'm in a demon house, so it's that and Hawthorn are awful. So funny that I actually picked Hawthorn as my team because I like the colours of the jumper. That makes
really?
Yeah, brown and gold or the poos and
Yeah,
wees. It just makes no sense.
That's the poos and wees. Oh, I haven't even thought about that before. Yeah, that's an odd way of picking a team, I guess, for the colours.
Well, my dad.
Oh, maybe it's a standard way. I don't know. Girls pick horses by the colours, don't they?
That is true. My dad was at Melbourne, like mad keen Melbourne supporter. All his family Melbourne supporters. Like
really?
Blue and red, nice, solid, good colours. Like it's probably the best jumper in the league, and I go ahead and pick Hawthorn.
That's strange, yeah. You're right into your poos and wees back then.
Oh, no doubt I would have been. I would have been 2 or 3. I would have been peak poo and wee in pants. So everything's going all right up in Queensland. I know that the COVID stuff has sort of eased off and you have a level of freedom. So tell me, outside of going to the beach, which is great because you could travel more than 5 kilometres, what else have you been up to?
Apart from that, just rolling with the work-life saga, mate. Kids are at school. It is funny though, while we do have a bit of freedom up here in Queensland, like we were out Friday to the beach, this seaside town, and it was pretty pumping there. We stayed there, until about 6, 7 o'clock, had some fish and chips by the beach, then cruised back home. But there was a lot of people lining up to get into certain spots for dinner, and there was no social distancing whatsoever in these lines. And where the fish and chip shop was, there was a feel free if you want to write your name down as you enter, which I did because it's probably the right thing to do. But which is a little bit scary because I think maybe we're taking our sort of freedom a little bit for granted, or it's sort of back in mind now, where it should really be front of mind and we should really be adhering to these things. So, whether or not that's a sign of things to come, for us, where things are going to turn bad again, I don't know. But yeah, in terms of doing what we should be doing, it's really, well, it wasn't evident to where we went on Friday. So
yeah, we don't want to end up in a New Zealand situation where you had it eliminated and then it somehow wasn't eliminated and you starts to spread again. That's the last thing you want because we're living that now, and it's kind of the second wave on. Hopefully there's no third or fourth wave, and there's a vaccine coming soon, according to the minister. Or, in the next sort of 6 months or so, and the next wave is a depressing one. You go, you've got it covered. We've been enjoying some freedom again, and then if you get hit with it again, it's just. I think a lot of people here have kind of found it a bit depressing.
Yeah, it would be having to go back through it again. So are you guys getting out at all, or just the shops? Like, can you even go down to the beach? Because I know you guys live near the beach and it's nice to get out for a stroll, but can you do that?
So we can walk independently, or we can take the kids. So you actually have to plan your walk. So I'll go, okay, if I want to go for a run in the morning, that means I can't go for a walk with the wife and the kid. And that means if he's going to get some fresh air outside the house, she has to take him, or one of us has to go to the shops and he has to come. And even that's kind of a grey area because he could stay at home with the other one. So yeah, you really have to kind of. It's ridiculous. You have to basically, and we're doing it, I guess, because we feel like we should do the right thing. You kind of have to plan your exercise around who's going to go out when. It's crazy.
Yeah, geez, that would be very tough. I know a lot of some other people I know down there as well, including my family, are getting some are getting quite angry about it all, like having the kids at home and not being able to work and all working from home as well. I mean, you guys are probably used to having your little guy at home, but I mean, do you sort of see it as a bit of a, whilst it's a bit of a pain in the ass, let's be honest, but as well as, potentially not going to get this time again to spend with a little guy? Like maybe parents should be looking at it in a bit of a positive way to spend the time with the kids a bit more, or does it just, it's all collapsing on top of you? It's like,
You hear a lot of negativity. Like a lot of stuff on social media is like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm at home with my kids. I'm like, well, why did you have kids? Like if you don't want to hang out with them that much, why would you bother? Right. But then we had a pretty ordinary day with the little fella yesterday. He was, he misbehaves, not the right word. He's just being really stubborn, and he got really vocal when we're out on our walk. But then today was a perfect angel. So it just depends on the day. Like some days, like today was fantastic. Yesterday, you know, if you could have handed him back at the end of the day, you might have.
Yeah, right.
But you're right. Like again, you have to, like you're saying earlier, the kids are going through the exact same things we're going through. He's old enough to understand what's going on. He's missing out on stuff. So you just have to, you know, take it with a bit of a grain of salt and go, okay, you have to, you know, compassionate, being able to put yourself in empathy, putting yourself in his shoes and just go, okay, I can kind of understand why you're a bit jack at these things, mate.
Yeah. Yeah. And anything you can do to, you know, pump those kids up.
Even if
as
it's
well.
a cubby.
Even if it's a cubby.
And you have to put it up immediately.
Yeah. But quite quickly. Very, very impressed by that, mate. Well
I
done.
had to drop everything to do it. So, you know, hallelujah for an electric screwdriver.
That's right. Because the first episode of Daddy Eats Last was, should guys be able to build stuff? And you can build stuff.
Well, it's only taken me about 104 episodes, but I got there in the end.
Better late than never.
I reckon it's a pretty good place to wrap up episode 104 or 105 or whatever we're up to. Remember to subscribe to Daddy Eats Last on iTunes if you haven't already. And while you're there, please leave a review. Also, tell your mates about the podcast, especially if they are guys. Most of all, thanks for listening. And we'll be back next week for another episode, or should I say serving, of Daddy Eats Last. How's that for a dad joke? Catch you next week.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.